Good afternoon. My name is Jay Fielding. I'm a regional manager with Verdantis, and I appreciate very much your time in joining us for the webinar. We're going to talk today about fueling the enterprise with clean master data, specifically in a consolidated spare parts used in the maintenance and repair operations. But many of the points we'll talk about will be relevant to all areas of master data management. We have some special guests today. Arthur Raguette is the Executive Vice President for Verdantis, and he'll be joining personally to share operational value from a clean, consolidated item catalog. Arthur has many years of experience both with Verdantis and in the spend and procurement management and supply chain systems, and he has been very helpful in helping global companies justify a master data management business case and to help them share with their corporate execs how these systems pay for themselves throughout the organization. Then we have Ron Tisch, who's the Outsourced Technology Vice President from one of our premier partners, the Tagos Group, a global supply chain management company, and he'll be talking about how they can add value to master data management project on a global basis. And then we'll conclude with some opportunities to understand how we could tactically do a master data management project of this nature and how we could help you in that arena. Looking at the business value of a material master system, we try to design our systems to help in three ways: drive business value, meet master data compliance and standards, and to meet IT standards. So if you're looking at building a business case and setting up a master data management program for materials, these are the areas that normally we find in our project charters. How is the investment going to help the business? Also, once we decide that we're going to clean up and standardize our data, maybe consolidate item masters from various parts of the world or different plants or different ERP systems, what are the standards that we're going to use in order to do that? What will be the noun modifiers? What will be the standard attribution? What will be the data ownership? How will we do approvals, et cetera? What are those master data compliance and standards be, and how will we engage them throughout the enterprise? And finally, and just as importantly, is we want to make sure that what we do in the master data arena actually feeds and causes the IT standards of the company to thrive, that we don't put a bottleneck in the system, that we think through how are the touch points of the master data system to the various systems and technologies already in. We have companies that sometimes have 15 to 20 different ERP packages, sometimes 2 or 3, and sometimes they've consolidated on a standard package, whether it be an SAP or an Oracle or a JDE, and then sometimes they have various areas of enterprise management systems, e-procurement systems, et cetera. So we want to make sure that we drive business value, come up with standards that are fitting to the whole organization, and then that we meet the needs of each of the different systems that we have to have as touch points throughout the organization. We find that these are easy to drive these values when a company is in the process of rolling out an enterprise software package. For instance, if you're consolidating various local plant maintenance systems, or you're looking to improve business ownership of the corporation to drive strategic sourcing initiatives across categories, and you've been buying locally, and now you want to see how national and even international contracts could better be used to bring real dollar value, we see that these could drive a project for clean master data. Also, very often we see that by improving inventory levels at our different storerooms, we can eliminate duplicates and bring real hard dollar cost to the bottom line and improve the overall performance of the company. When we look at dirty item master data, we're usually looking at something that is caused by perhaps long-term mergers and acquisitions where the organization has expanded perhaps even to multiple languages, multiple plants and locations, but have been using item masters that are distinct and disparate for these different locations. Sometimes it's entire companies are purchased or merged into the organization and have been using different ways of describing their parts. And also sometimes it's just within even a location where there aren't any standards, so people just write in whatever they think is necessary in order to get a part ordered, and then they come to do a massive ERP project and find that their data is different from every one of the different locations, that there are different manufacturers, different ways of writing their noun modifiers, different codes. So they get inaccurate or non-existent spend classification. They have different abbreviations or units of measures, and they can't find duplicates. Many times they can't search and find a part for their maintenance operations. And sometimes even in the manufacturing area, they don't have the correct manufacturing name and part numbers, which lead to inaccurate purchasing of the parts. So what we want to do is create standards in the organization. Ron's group is very professional in helping companies understand the full need of data, data ownership, data stewardship, and governance. So data clarity and standardization is only one part of the total program for master data management, even in materials. We have to determine who in the organization owns the data. Will it be maintenance? Will it be procurement? Will it be people in supply chain management, et cetera? Then who are the people that are the best experts in your various areas to provide what we call subject matter expertise in creating these standards and living through them and making decisions of what abbreviation should be, what attributes should be in a standard data sheet or what we call a specification sheet, et cetera. So by putting together the right people, the right resources, and the right technology, you could develop standards that could help you guys consolidate the catalog and live in a, to keep those standards in what we call a data governance system. So we'll want to look at process, the automation to do work, because many of our customers are looking at global systems, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of items, and what are the total resources needed for a project. If the data itself is poor, and in some items very poor, what are we going to do to what we call non-source enrichment? So you'll hear expressions of the word source enrichment usually means how do we take the data that we have and improve its viability and clarity to the organization. Non-source is when we go outside of the organization to look at particularly content libraries or websites of our suppliers, or help with our distributors to add attribution and correction to our data to improve it. And what will be the approval processes in order to finalize an item as master data, and where will we keep these items? On the right side are samples of some of the data statistics that you have, such as your classification, which is your noun modifier that describes an individual item, the list of attributes that you'll use to describe an item. Some are called mission critical, some non-critical. It doesn't mean that any of them are not critical, but in your short descriptions, many ERP systems give you, for instance, 40 characters to describe a part. Those are called your critical attributes, and they'll be used to help identify duplicates. But your non-critical help your sourcing group purchase parts by giving additional information and clarity to what an item is, and that could be many lines long, 150, 250 characters, or even more. So on the right side, we're going to try to help you set the standards and then provide an automated way to bring these standards about to your items. So the goal is to have a central repository or master data management system that will house all your data. and to provide the edge of the organization an easy way to access this data, to find parts that they already have, and to request new parts, and to recognize that you have enterprise touch points. You have people that are in the storerooms, in the maintenance area that request parts, but sometimes accounting, engineering, your suppliers need access to these systems and find out how you're going to do with the right security. And then you'll have input of new mass data. Once the data is clean and standardized, what if you have a new acquisition or a new location project or a new joint venture where new items are coming in batch? How does these systems come in batch into the system? So we're going to discuss all that and how we end up with good, clean data and descriptions that feed our ERP to make search more efficient, to create new items easily, to reduce our inventory, eliminate duplicates, to improve spend management, and to make it visible, all your items across all your different locations and plants, and to manage your categories professionally. So right now I'm going to turn it over to Arthur Roget, who is an expert in the area of data consolidation and ROI.
Again, my name is Arthur Roget. I'm the Executive Vice President of Verdantis, and for the next 15 minutes or so, we'll discuss the business impacts of poor data quality, specific to maintenance, repair, and operations items, as well as to engineered part or engineered component. We'll go through this in sort of 3 sections. The first will be the baseline, our understanding of, I'll say, soft value impacts, and these might be in the areas of productivity or new product implementation cycles. Customer satisfaction, something that does have a harder tie to revenue. But then we'll jump into a section focused more on CFOs. They're looking for sort of hard dollar ROI. They want to understand exactly where that money's coming from. They want to see it on an income statement or a balance sheet. And we'll walk through some examples using our current customers. And then we'll sort of wrap up the section on product or service flow, talking about the impact of a small outage, how someone might monetize or put direct cost or impact on a relatively short outage due to bad data quality. I look back across what Aberdeen has published over the years in their space for material master data and data quality. There's a couple of immediate things that jump out to me. If we look at Table 1, the average time per employee per week spent searching for information. In an arena where we're not running master data management for materials, we're looking at 6.2 hours. If we're looking at one that has implemented a master data quality solution, we're looking at only 1.3. So we're looking at an additional a savings of 4.9 hours per week, almost 5 hours. If you've got 1,000 people, that's 5 hours a week per person. That's 250 times 1,000. That's 250,000 hours, and you know what your costs are for your people. If we look at the use of operations equipment and how better data quality can accelerate or shorten cycles, we're looking at a year-over-year improvement of 9% for those companies who've embraced master data quality for their material parts. New product introductions that meet the quality requirement, and I find this to be very interesting, is 6% better. So not just 9% faster, but 6% more accurate or more quality. If we look at the inventory kind of numbers, having accurate insight into inventory itself means, well, 3% better chance of complete and on-time deliveries. Inventory accuracy, 4% better than its peers. Improved inventory turn from your ERP, a 7% gain. These are sort of what you'd expect by improved master data quality for your maintenance, repair, and operations material. So look at the next two. Year-over-year change in customer satisfaction and year-over-year change in customer retention. A 17% increase over their peers for customer satisfaction means whether it's an external customer and revenue or an internal customer and just sort of, bonus money, 17% is a pretty good jump. 11% customer retention is quite significant. Now, moving forward to the internal, which is getting maximum ROI from your ERP or MRP deployments, we find that there's a hybrid mix between master data quality associated with material and master data governance, which is the process that keeps that data clean on an ongoing basis. And those that have deployed both a governance process in addition to standard data quality are 6% ahead of their peer group, right? So 20% gain as compared to 14%. Reduction in operating and administrative costs on an ongoing basis is almost a 10% gain over their peer group, from 12 to 22. The one that makes everyone happy, change in profitability, 4% greater than their peer group year over year for the past 2 fiscal years. Now, many folks embrace the ERP or MRP platforms because it helps automate, streamline, and add discipline to their business process. By combining data governance, which is effectively quality compliance, with the data quality improvement process, we're seeing a 4% gain for internal schedule compliance against its peer group, a 5% gain against peer group for the time to decision gap. In other words, before one finds data till the time that one acts on it, using it as actionable information, 5% gain. For the CFO crowd out there, reduction in DSO from 45 to 36 days against the peer group. This is days sales outstanding, basically faster collection and revenue recognition, and then reduced time to close out a month from a financial perspective. But if we want to drive monetization a little bit more, and for those of you who are joining us on this session who are putting a project plan or a business case together, these numbers are simplified, but I hope you'll take away the idea of where does the monetization come from. If we take an organization with $8 billion in sales and $1 billion in maintenance, repair, and operations material spend, so that's operations, spares, repair, the like, with about $400 million in MRO or maintenance, repair, operations inventory, we find that the ability to take 400,000 SKUs, run it through a data harmonization process to identify both exact duplicates as well as similar items yields a couple of major benefits. From a data harmonization perspective, pulling out exact duplicates or form, fit, and function duplicates, for this client, reduced their spare count by about 15% and brought the end result down to about 340,000 SKUs. This 15% reduction in items related to a 10% reduction in the actual inventory value, because there are usually items out there that have no current stock value. Reducing the SKU counts, I mean, nobody really cares about reducing the amount of database your tables take. It's really about using that information to run the business better. So affecting inventory carry cost, right, which is the cost of money or opportunity cost of having money tied up in inventory as compared to having it to invest into otherwise expanded business. For this client, was at 4.4%. With $400 million in inventory and 10% value duplication, we're looking at a $40 million write-down. These are not needed or obsolete / fully duplicate items. And they wrote down a one-time benefit to the balance sheet of 4.4% of $40 million, which is 1.8 or $1.76 million. Of the 15% that were identified that were not written off, but for similar or like items, there was 150 million out of that billion that were sort of ripe for or ready for strategic alignment from a sourcing and procurement perspective. So with 150 million of addressable spend running through a cost reduction program through strategic sourcing and demand aggregation, reduced average unit cost by 12.5% over 140-something categories. And that 12.5 against the 150 equated to an additional 18 million in realized savings within 12 months after go live. So here, the cost reduction in total is about 19.7 for this part of the project. And this is just the data harmonization, the initial cleansing, if you will, of the data. Ongoing data governance, sort of maintaining quality integrity over time, has the direct effect of increasing the user population's trust in the procurement catalog. And I'm sure many of you know, the folks out in the field will buy when, where, and however they possibly can, but they prefer the easiest and most reliable path. For this organization, those users, 40% of the time, did not feel that was the procurement catalog and went to the street to basically make spot buys. Once the quality of their catalog had improved and the new additions continued to keep it, well, basically pristine, Maverick use fell from 40% to 25%, gaining an extra 15% of sort of spend under management by procurement. Now, what makes this interesting is against the 800 million out there, there's 120 million additional sort of spend bucket that procurement could now affect. And Gartner tells us that on-contract versus on-contract costs are usually about 17.9%. This client found it was closer to 16.5% for his particular commodities. So 16.5% reduction against the 120 million, 15% of 800, equals 19.8 million. Combined, these two activities in one account generated nearly 40 million in actual savings on the income statement and balance sheet. You know, a broader discussion is what is the cost of not having the right part, or the cost of having the right part but not being able to find it. If a plant is down, or if a line is down, right? If raw material is not flowing through the pipe, what does that actually cost you? In actual hours, we found that effectively 1 hour's worth of downtime is closer to 40 staff hours just out of the gate. There's the, whoops, we have a problem, let me go find a part. There's an additional hour on top of that, looking at the parts that I have because I couldn't trust the data per se that was in the system. That may mean pulling apart, looking at it, going back, grabbing another part. But it's very easy to look at my initial hour, having 3 to 5 hours of back and forth to the storeroom, having people pull parts. Once I find what I need, I may now extend or create an item in the ERP system. If it's not currently in stock, even though I thought it was, then I've got a built-in delay of another day, 2 days, while a part is being assembled or shipped. I've got net new receipts, processing, etc. And it's very quickly adds up to about 40 hours of labor. If I'm looking at opportunity cost, what is the revenue that I lost during that 1 hour of downtime or the 40 staff hours associated with it? We've seen estimates as conservative as $10,000 an hour, and we've seen them as aggressive as $10,000 per minute, which makes the outage a little bit more substantial. So whether you're looking at the monetization being based on efficiency in your ERP operations, efficiency in your spares and logistic operations, direct financial benefit to the organization through reduced costs, lower inventory values, or simply a smoother running operation that has less operational loss. We found that a common root cause is bad master data quality pertaining to material and item, and the ability to improve that quality and to maintain it is something that we're eager to help you guys prove out. We often do this with our partners, and today we have Ron Tisch from the Tagos Group to join us for the rest of the session. Ron, over to you.